pursuant to departmental custom policy and procedure.
I know that that is the form that I use when we are doing the ADA request.
What if I told you that not only the checking of the box, not only in addition to this, they asked me to file a formal grievance? Is there a difference between this and a grievance?
Yes.
What's the difference?
The difference is that form you're filling out there is for a reasonable accommodation request. A grievance is a complaint that you are making against a Department of Corrections employee that you are not happy with.
Do you know if I file a grievance as opposed to this process?
I know that there are grievances in your file, but I did not read them, so I cannot say what they relate to.
Do you have any idea how many of those grievances are there?
No.
But it's at least one.
Correct.
Again, how many grievances could you say?
I can't.
Was it 5? Was it 10?
Objection.
I think she's indicated she doesn't know.
Your Honor, to the best of my knowledge, maybe if I'm wrong over the avalanche of papers here, I don't see anything that was in discovery that relates
Objection.
to the grievance form that she's...
If you filed it, we would expect that you would be aware of it, Mr. Nolen. If you didn't, then...
Well, what I'm saying is, she's saying that she has knowledge of the existence of these forms. I'm saying...
If you have an objection about her testimony, state it. Otherwise, I'm not sure.
I'm saying she's testifying that she has knowledge of the grievance form. So certainly the grievance forms that I filled out as part of this court's order for discovery.
Okay, we can deal with that issue when the jury isn't here if you want to, but let's move on. Do you have any other questions?
I say that that's pertinent to my case.
We can talk about it at a break, but it doesn't relate to her testimony. She's just said what she knows. Do you have any more questions for her?
In terms of, are you familiar with the grievance process?
Yes.
Could you explain it?
Objection. The witness testified she wasn't involved with Mr. Nolen's grievance. It's well beyond...
I'm going to excuse the jury so we can have a conversation now. You folks can go downstairs, okay?
All right. You're all wired up for sound, okay? I'm sure you fellas.
It works pretty well, doesn't it? Maybe not.
What's your answer?
I don't think she heard me.
Maybe seated?
So, I don't know what the grievances are that you're talking about.
I'm saying,
What did you file a grievance about?
I'm saying that there's a two-stage, or I'll say a parallel process within the department. There's this process.
I understand that.
And
What grievance did you file that relates to this case?
That the officers involved refused to timely grant reasonable accommodations, and that they were asking me to do things that medically and otherwise I physically couldn't do.
Okay. And what do those grievances have to do with the claims in this case?
Because I was basically complaining that at that time my medical conditions were rapidly getting worse and worse and worse. And
Okay. So
that,
what is it that you want?
That basically, in addition to going this route, I went the grievance route. And what I'm saying is that the step-by-step process, again, going back to this business of processing and handling expedited requests for accommodations and their so-called grievance program is insufficient, not only in my case, but systematically.
Okay. I think I understand your point now. So what is it that you want to ask her about?
I want to get into the grievance process. She says she knows the grievance process from, correct me if I'm wrong, A to Z.
Well,
And
we're not-
basically,
you don't have to answer questions right now.
and I, just her nod is good enough, and that goes into one of her. But anyway, she knows it from A to Z. And basically, again,
And what is it, though, that you want her? If she gave you all the perfect answers that you're hoping for, what would she be saying?
she'd be saying that this grievance process, as especially as applies to the equivalent in the technical term that the U.S. Supreme Court has said, an emergency or urgent type of grievance in which the usual, hey, every time I get the food is
All right,
cold.
I think I get it. So, Mr. Gruff, what is your position on this?
Your Honor, if Mr. Nolen wanted to introduce some evidence about the grievance process, he had a day and a half to do that. This witness says she wasn't involved in Mr. Nolen's grievance, and he's well exceeded the scope of her. And we have another witness to put on.
Your Honor, as part of the discovery,
Okay, it doesn't really matter what you got in discovery. That doesn't
no,
determine.
there was an order of this court, excuse my,
Go ahead.
can I show this to Mr. Brock?
You can.
I can't make out that signature, but
Yeah, I understand you
What?
filed a grievance, Mr. Nolen.
But that's not-
This witness didn't respond to it.
So,
I believe she did.
all right, folks, talk to me, not each other. Be careful you don't trip there. So, Mr. Nolen, here's my thinking. You certainly could have testified when you testified about a grievance process. But B, unless I'm wrong, and you can correct me if I am, I do not believe there is a single word in your complaint about the grievance process or anything being wrong with the department's grievance process. Your claims have to do with your request for a reasonable accommodation.
And can I just read this portion
You
right
can.
here? It says, "I've made a written request for reasonable accommodation under ADA. I received attached letter and from Vermont Health Access has refused to provide me with a primary physician despite my acceptance of eligibility and," I can't read that. Can you read for me? Something Medicaid? "By my offer to something, medical records, and that Vermont DMV is in possession of a certification
Okay.
related to the
Mr. Nolen,
walking issues."
I'm going to stop you. If you wish to testify on rebuttal, if there is any time left, about that issue, you can try to do that and I'll deal with any objection. She's already said she doesn't know about your grievances, so she cannot talk about that form.
Well, she can at least say that she didn't get this.
She's already said that she
Yeah, here,
doesn't
it's on the
know.
record.
No, that's.
She just
not
said she
true.
doesn't know anything about your specific grievances, except that she saw there was some.
I don't believe that was on the record.
Yes, it was. It was before the jury went out.
My mistake.
So, and to the extent that you're making a new claim, I mean,
It's not a new claim, it's-
a new claim that's not in the complaint in this case. If somebody does something wrong and they violate the law, the fact that you complained multiple times about that violation doesn't make it more of a violation. The fact that you filed a grievance as well as a request doesn't mean it's worse. It just
No,
doesn't prove
but-
anything,
but-
okay?
but what-
So, I am not going to allow you to question her any
Well,
further
what-
about grievances.
But what it does do is say that, let's say there was, this ADA request fell through the cracks. I'm saying there isn't any way that with a grievance, with that, with all the other correspondence that Mr. Groff hasn't even produced pursuant to the order of this court.
I object to that.
We can deal with that later if we need to, but there is no claim by the state that this fell through the cracks. They are not denying that they got your request. If they said, oh, we never saw that, then I might agree with you.
But
That's not
but
their
again, the
position.
witness is testifying that I didn't provide the documentation.
That's correct.
And this is saying that I went through their own, by their own regulations, by their own policy, by their own procedures, that separate and apart from the ADA stuff, I said, look, guys, I can't turn around and come up with this stuff because of my particular circumstances.
Mr. Nolan, if you want to try and explain some of that later, you can, but she doesn't know that, okay? So
Okay, we'll do
I'll let
that.
everybody else here take a couple of minutes. Do you have any other questions for her?
I got a lot more. I got a whole list of stuff based upon her testimony.
All right, so let's all take 5 to 10 minutes, and then the jury should be ready to come back up, okay?
All right.
How am I doing?